We live in interesting times when even the weather is a wedge issue. But in this political climate, few terms are more loaded than climate change. After months of epic droughts and floods, blizzards and heat waves, some are seeing proof of warnings past, while others refuse to believe that man could ever wreck God's planet. But neither side can deny that we are having one hellacious spring.
This thing is right over my head.
There is nothing unusual about tornadoes in April. But this many? This deadly? It is more than unusual. Because it's not just happening in Tornado Alley, where Midwesterners know all about spring twisters. No, funnel clouds have risen in sobering numbers from Mississippi to Maryland.
Yep, there goes the roof off a house.
If you average the past 3 years, April typically brings 2 killer tornadoes that take 6 lives. This April has produced 13 killer tornadoes that have taken at least 43 lives. And then there are the floods.
We're completely under at our house. So.
With swollen rivers and bursting levees adding to the Missouri misery. All of this the result of torrential rains and melting snowpack that ate Chicago.
I don't know if I'll suffocate. I don't know what will happen.
And New York.
Everybody's tired of it. They're exhausted, okay? It's getting out of control.
And most of the rest of America. And of course, we are not alone in tasting Ma Nature's recent fury. The crushing heat waves in China and Russia and Europe last summer came in some of the hottest months ever recorded. Hot air holds more moisture, which brought the kind of flooding that killed hundreds in Pakistan. But shifting rain patterns also led to droughts in the Amazon, typically one of the wettest places on Earth. Add it all up, and it looks an awfully lot like what this man once called a nature walk through the book of Revelations.
And so, as the surrounding water gets warmer, it speeds up the melting of the ice.
But is today's tornado or flood real proof of Al Gore's doomsday predictions? Well, even those scientists who agree with him, even they say it's not that simple.
It's very tempting to connect the dots because it's all weather, but you have to be really quite disciplined. You have to be very, very careful about what you can say.
Dr. Gavin Schmidt is a NASA scientist specializing in the incredibly complex world of climate modeling. He says there is no denying that the planet is warming, and by burning carbon, we are helping raise the temperature.
And then by the time you get to 2050, 2070, 2080, you're starting to see patterns of warming that put us really in a different planet.
But blaming a tornado in St. Louis on climate change? That is a leap too far, he says. Think of it this way. Weather is what happened lately. Climate is what has happened forever. Lately, the area north and west of that line has been oddly cold and wet, while the south and east has been hot and dry. But that has a lot more to do with the La Niña cold water patterns in the Pacific and how they affect the jet stream. And drastic changes that are happening in, say, Alaska may not be happening at the same rate on Ron Benagi's farm in New Jersey. So as a guy who lives off the land, literally, is the climate changing? Are you seeing patterns now that you didn't see 40 years ago here?
Well, I'm not a geologist and I'm not a scientist, but I am outside 365 days a year, and I'm usually outside, not undercover. And I can tell you, over the years, the only thing that is constant is change. It's always changing. And I don't think that our climate is necessarily changing drastically because there's something that we're doing. I think it's changing because Mother Nature is just stretching a little bit and maybe just moving a little bit.
Climate change is a chronic issue. Right? It's one of those things that, every year it gets a little bit worse. Like me putting on weight. Every year I put on a couple of pounds. I think, oh, well, I should really do something about that. But, it's off in the distance and one can forget. But if I broke my arm, I'd go to the emergency room straight away, right? That would be an acute problem. A tornado hitting an airport is an acute problem. Climate change is a chronic problem. And we don't deal well with that.